Hello, today I wanted to talk about the importance of your gallbladder and why it matters, especially after the age of 40 in perimenopause and menopause. I'm Kate Driver, naturopath and the perimenopause practitioner, and I wanted to talk about your gallbladder because this little organ is so important. It holds bile and releases bile, and this bile is made by your liver, and bile has many functions, and some of them are digesting your fats from your food, which is really important. And this bile also binds onto your bad estrogens and your bad cholesterol. So if you've got sluggish bile or it's stagnant and it's not flowing, then you can become estrogen dominant and have a lot more bad cholesterol than you should. But the estrogen dominance also makes your bile more sluggish. So it's a little bit of a catch-22. It also binds to toxins and helps your bowels eliminate toxins. And talking about bowels, it helps your stools stay soft and helps with the motility of the intestines. So it pushes the feces through the intestines. And if you're constipated, then this can be a sign that you might be low in bile, especially if you've got dry, pebbly sort of stools. The other thing that I wanted to mention though is it's really important for the microbiome balance as well, actually talking about the intestines. But if you have a bit of an underactive thyroid or you're suspecting it and you think you might have some of the symptoms that show up in the early stages of low thyroid function, well, low T4 means that then you have low bile flow. It actually affects your bile flow. So many more women that have thyroid issues or unknowingly have it but don't really realise that they do will have slow bile production and sluggish bile. So it can cause all these different issues. So some of the symptoms can be pain around that liver area on the right hand side, under the ribs. It can be nausea, bloating, feeling really full after eating really quickly. You can also get burping and vomiting if you've got really extreme symptoms, which is not fantastic. And if it's a bit more mild, you might have a pain in between your shoulder blades at the back. So these can be symptoms to watch out for. And what we need to do then is to stimulate and keep this bile flowing properly so everything, including your digestive system, works more efficiently. So we want to look at also keeping our estrogen dominance lower. The estrogen dominance affects the bile flow, and so does estrogen deficiency as well when you are in perimenopause and postmenopause. So that can actually affect the actual bile flow. Now, what we want to do is firstly to stimulate the bile flow and keep it flowing nicely. Make sure you've got enough or adequate stomach acid for a start, because that stomach acid, part of its job is to stimulate bile flow. So you might like to do this with lemon juice in water before meals, or apple cider vinegar in water before meals, or having bitter foods, bitter greens, raw beetroot's fantastic. I just mentioned lemon juice, bitter greens, olives, dandelion root tea is really good, and some of those other liver teas. But don't use these if you've got known gallbladder stones or a lot of blockage in the bile duct. You don't want to stimulate the bile when you have quite severe issues. So just for general health and for day to day, then you just want to keep that bile flowing. Then making sure you're having good fats is really important, because that's what actually helps stimulate the bile. So many times people cut the fats out and then the bile flow becomes less and causes more problems, which is not great. Raw beetroot, I mentioned, dandelion root tea, bitter greens, and there's loads of herbs that you could take, but I would not recommend anybody just go off and do this, because everybody's going to be different what they need. I also would recommend, just because things that are rich in choline can help with the bile flow as well and keep it nice, is things like eggs, and I like sunflower lecithin. So a lot of people get lecithin, don't realise a lot of it's made from soy, but sunflower lecithin would be a great idea because it's better for you for a start. So keep your bile flow nice and flowing, and make sure you have those good fats and some bitters before your food, lemon juice and water, apple cider vinegar, and then working on your thyroid issues if there's any, the estrogen balance in your body in perimenopause or menopause, depending on what stage you're at. If you've got estrogen dominance, you need to work on that. If there's estrogen deficiency, then there's a lot of things that you can do for that as well. We need to also be supporting our liver for this estrogen dominance. And you don't have to be, still menstruating to have estrogen dominance. You could be in postmenopause or menopause and still have estrogen dominance. It means that your progesterone is quite low, and it means that in comparison, your estrogen is a bit too high in comparison with your progesterone. So if you'd like to know more about your hormones and what you should be doing in perimenopause and menopause and beyond, then jump onto my next free masterclass, and I'll be sharing with you what you need to know to flow and thrive through menopause and perimenopause with ease naturally. I'll put the link below, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks for listening. Bye.